going to call this meeting of the Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Board of Directors to order. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to have an invocation from Scott.
Okay, so we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for a wonderful day. Lord, thank you for blessing us with Sandy Pines. And Lord, please be with us throughout this season as we kicking it off and keep us all safe and healthy. Lord, please give us the knowledge and wisdom and information and the courage to keep us, or to decide some rules and stuff and keep us, make these decisions. We do not make these decisions lightly. And Lord, tonight we ask that all of us respect each other and treat each other with some kind. Lord, I ask that you help us all pause for a second, reflect on our lives, and see how blessed we certainly are. Lord, you're an amazing God, and you've been good yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and always, Lord. And you deserve all the grace and glory, and we praise us all in your Son's great name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kimberly, could you take the roll call, please?
Ellen Carpenter.
Here.
Rick Day.
Here.
Bob Dakinga.
Here.
Jenny Hager. Here. Kelly Johnson.
Here.
Larry Munger.
Here.
Paul Putzel.
Here.
Stephanie Sepanya. Here. And Scott Wyman.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. We're going to approve new park members. Jeff, could you give us some information and demographics on the new members?
Yes, I would love to. So we have park sales, the last time we met was in September, so we have a lot of new members that have entered the park. We'll go over sales from September of 2022 all the way through the 19th of May, which is today. Total sales during that time frame, we had 90 sales. We had 33 that went through for sale by owner. We had 42 that went through our sales department, and we're starting to see that trend move from for sale by owner into the sales department. That's a great testament to Kent and Janelle and Rana in the sales department. They're doing an awesome job. We had 15 transfers, 136 new members to the park. Demographics were 2 members in their 20s, 15 members in their 30s, 31 members in their 40s, 34 members in their 50s, 37 members in their 60s, 15 members in their 70s, not done yet, 1 member in their 80s, and 1 member in their 90s. And breakdown of the sales by month. September, we see a big push in September. We had 30 sales in September, 12 in October, 7 in November, 3 in December, 3 in January, 1 in February, 12 in March, 11 in April, and 11 in May so far. So that's total sales for the last roughly 6 months.
At this time, I'll accept a motion to approve the new members.
So.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next order of business is the approval of the minutes from the December 2022 Board of Directors meeting. We were given these via email, and tonight, are there any questions or corrections from the board? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next order of business is our financial report, and I want to give Ginny Hager, our treasurer, an opportunity to make some comments first. Ginny?
I was not present at the meeting, so we were out of the country. So I'll defer everything to Kimberly.
Okay, thank you.
Where did you
Okay, the finance committee did meet last week, Wednesday, at the North Shore Building, and we did have a quorum there. We did review the check reports for December through the month of April 2023, as well as the financial statements, the summary of those year-to-date, and then in addition to that, the first preliminary review and budget of the fiscal year 2024 budget, so already looking ahead at next season. So I can go over the first review of the December through April 2023 financial statements for Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails. We usually look at this as a year-to-date cumulative review. So as of the end of April 2023, our cash operations is up 1.5 million. The majority, or the whole of the 1.5 million, I do want to know, is a holding for the final transfer to capital to assist in the purchase of the phase two pool, which was supported by the membership vote at the end of last year. So once that phase two pool is completed, up to 1.5 million can be transferred over to assets to support that. If not all of that is needed, it will remain in the operations cash. Overall net income, as of year-to-date for April, is up $579,000. Looking at the specific departments, administration is pretty consistent with the prior year. Maintenance, you will notice gross income, that there is an increase to the holding tank income, and that was approved with a budgetary change in the pricing of our pump outs. You're going to notice the reflect of that is also going to increase on the expense side of that, which is what was supporting the increase in the pricing of that. So during the season, you will see the cost of that maintenance expense kind of offsetting that as well. Public safety and recreation, both of those at this time of year are pretty consistent with the prior year too. We're still early in the season. Resort income, you will notice that the dues income is up $270,000 from prior year. That is supported with the March 2022 CPI index, the 8.6%, which was the change in the operations dues from the prior season to this most recent season. In addition, you will notice $508,000 increase under the cable Wi-Fi income, and that was because of the change in the structure of the assessment for cable and internet, for the cable, TV, and internet assessment. I do want to note that you will see this kind of even out through the year, because as of this point last year, we only had 1/4 of the internet bill. So what you will see in last year's year-to-date numbers, that will true up and you will see the additional money from last year for the internet, for those that did elect into it, come into the comparison around the month of June. So right now, we're showing a little bit of an overage there, but it will even out as the season goes on. Professional fees, you will notice, has an increase of about $60,000 from last year. We're right at budget there. A lot of this is related to the ongoing consulting and a review of the new system as we're working on that, the new software system. In addition to just our traditional legal fees as things come up, so those are items that go through that professional fees line. Our property tax expense is up about $70,000 from last year. I do want to note too that this is related to the infrastructure changes and stuff within the park. We did review that, looked at that with different assessments as we saw them coming through from the township, and that was adjusted for our current year budget, so we are in line there. The lease change, when you look at our leases department, you will notice changes there with the country store and cafe. At the time we prepared the budget last year, things were still in review. So you will notice there is still an anticipated budget under that, but what you are gonna notice during the year is the income will not come through that line, but it will be under the park and garden department, because Sandy Pines is taking over the operations of the country store and some small features at the cafe as well. So those two departments will be a little bit off in comparison to the budget, but they will offset each other, and we're gonna see how that works this year. You will also notice under the lease department, there is a new lease called the Blessed Massage. So that is actually a new amenity within the park, and that is located close to the inspector's office by the retail center. Under Park and Garden, in addition to the country store and cafe revenue that you'll see coming in, you will notice that there is a little bit of a decrease in the gross revenue, and this is related to some changes within the new software system. Those that have reserved softeners for the year, those billings have been delayed. So, and that's just timing and working through the infrastructure of that system, so, and changes in the management and stuff. So you will see that trued up next month. Golf cart rental is the next department, and there you will notice there is an increase in rentals, and those are reservations coming into the new year. The retail center, there is, you will see that there is 16,000 additional net expense in that budget, so it is, has a larger net expense under there. The majority of that is due to an increase in the maintenance expense within that department. So the retail center has been going through a lot of revisions and changes and repairs, just preparing it for, as the previous tenant moved out, then just preparing it for our use going into the next season and doing some different things there. And then under sales, you will notice that is about 100, the sales department is about 105,000 lower than prior year. That's not a concern for us right now. At this point last year, sales were really moving quickly. We did have a little bit of a drop of it in the off season, but we do see that picking back up now coming into the start of the summer, which is a good sign. So overall, that is my review for Sandy Pines. Bringing us up to date from December. So.
Do any of the board members have questions or comments on the financial reports for Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the December 2022 through April 2023 Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails financial statements. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now could you give us the financial statements and reports for the Lake Monterey Golf Course, please?
Yep. So there isn't a lot of activity at the golf course as far as the operations there. However, the golf course was still busy in the off season, just preparing it for the new season and some changes in the staffing and stuff. So our operation cash, when you look at the operation cash, you will notice that that is pretty consistent with prior year. There was a little bit of an increase of about 20,000 in the operation cash. The asset replacement cash is down about 30,000, but there were some major improvements to the golf course with some bridges and different needs that were really needed to keep the operations there up to date. Looking at total income, we were up about 27,000 overall. So there was still activity there and actually more than prior year. when you look at the green fees, members were still getting out there in the off-season, so that was nice to see. And there is still activity, the food sales, the beer and wine, and the merchandising sales still continue to pick up with new things that are being offered within the clubhouse there as well. In addition to that, you'll see about a $10,000 increase in the cost of sales. What you will notice there, that's a lot of pre-planning for the season. There's a lot of ideas and stuff going through, so just planning ahead and purchasing some items to be purchased for those sales coming forward. The other piece of the income and the increase in the expense relates to salaries and wages, and this is a staffing change. So we have been blessed with Larry Finkbinder kind of taking over the operations of the golf course with Gary Peters' departure last year. But he gave us a limited time that he would be helping us out. So with that, we have hired a new manager who he is training with and catching up to speed. So there's a little bit of an overlap in that training just to prepare the golf course. So you will notice that reflected in those financial statements as well. In addition, we did mention at our last meeting that there was a golf course superintendent that was hired as well to help just with the course and the maintenance out there of the golf course, keeping the greens up to date, giving his expertise on the fertilization of the course and stuff to really keep that up to par. Other than that, and you'll notice those increases specifically just in the purchasing of the fertilizer and stuff too. So overall, the net income for the golf course is about just under 20,000 lower than prior year, or I'm sorry, just over 20,000 lower than prior year, but we definitely don't have any concern that that will be picked up through the season.
Do any of the board members have questions or comments on the Lake Monterey Golf Course financial statements? At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the December 2022 through April 2023 Lake Monterey Golf Course financial statements.
So. Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Kimberly, do you have any additional comments about the budget?
Sure. About this time in May, we start looking ahead at the budget for the next season, so the 2023-2024 budget. When March comes along, Jeff and I are kind of looking to see who can find that March index first, to see what that CPI index is, because that is what really gauges where we're going to be in the next year. This was set by the bylaws. I will be honest, sometimes it comes to the advantage of Sandy Pines Park in their operations, and sometimes we see a little bit of a struggle, so we're always anticipating what that is. The CPI index as of March 2023, I will say to drop from last year. So last year we had an increase of 8.6%. The reported CPI index, and this is the Midwest index, which we go by, was 4.9%. So that will be an increase of $77 to the operation dues for next year, compared to this most recent year was $125. So it dropped about half. So in preparing the summary for the board, we do roll that through the budget just to see where do we anticipate other costs coming in with the budget, with that inflation, where is that going to hit, where have we seen trends. So when we look at the budget for each department, I actually pull the actual data going back from 2016 all the way to 2022, our most recent closing of the financial statements, and then we adjust the budget. So as of May, our responsibility is just to present that first blush of that budget to the board, and then look at it as an ongoing basis each month before we do the final review in August. So that was the key piece that I really wanted to highlight, because as of May, that's the piece that stands out the most. And we'll do the same with Lake Monterey Golf Course too as the season goes on.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to take a few minutes to welcome all of you back to our happy place. And thank you for taking your time, the time to come tonight. We really appreciate people that show up and become informed and get involved. Also, we will be having in August an election for 3 board positions as we normally do. We had such great response and interest for board positions when we had a vacancy last fall. I'm hoping we get the same kind of response for these 3 vacancies. You will be able to get a petition, a nominating petition in a few weeks. There will be news announcements coming out about that, and we'll make sure and share that information on social media. And you need 25 signatures, member signatures. You turn that back in, it's verified, and we would love to see more people running for these positions. There's a lot of great talent out there, and we know that after seeing everybody's application for the last year. One other thing I want to say is, you know, the beginning of the year, there's always some hot topic issues and things going on, and just please be patient and kind with each other and with the staff. Jeff?
Thank you, Ellen. Yep, well said. Again, welcome back to Sandy Pines for the 2023 season. I see we've got some awesome weather going on here. Everybody's bundled up in their coats and their sweatshirts. Sorry we couldn't get you better weather. It's coming though. Memorial Weekend, it's supposed to be sunny in the 80s. Knock on wood. It's been busy, really, since we opened the park, April 15. We started to get seasonal staff back. Welcome back to the board of directors for those that came back from the sunny spots. A little bit of a nostalgia here. Why are we sitting here? North Shore building, the board meetings and the board of directors aren't immune to the event bookings. Again, our sales team, Rana, Bonga, and the team there have done an excellent job booking additional events at the North Shore. So we got bumped, and so that's why we're here. That's why we're here today. They have a rehearsal dinner and then a reception tomorrow. So that's why we're here today. Face to face will be held here tomorrow as well. A little bit of a nostalgia. I actually Gene sat here. I sat there in 2019, September, when they introduced me as the park president. So a little bit of nostalgia. Just some high level topics. We'll get into some of the projects further on into the agenda. The staff, we're blessed to have an awesome staff. You'll see a lot of the projects that the staff has done. Ben and the crew have done a phenomenal job throughout the park. It looks beautiful. We've got, they've been doing a lot of stuff over at that retail center, fixing a bunch of stuff that needed to be fixed in the store and the restaurant, updating it. We have a ton of talented people. You'll see a little bit of a lean-to over there for where the train is. That's going to be an entrance area for when the train rides start. We had an insurance review, and they advised us we can't park our train inside the retail center any longer due to that retail center is owned by at least by other people. So we had to build a lean-to there. You know, we've got Memorial Day coming up. Hopefully all the mothers out here had a great Mother's Day. Abby Greenfield in our rec department, this is her first full year as a manager in the rec. She's getting her seasonal staff back. Got a really good time planned for Memorial Day, and we're just excited to be back. So as always, like to kick off the season. If any members have any questions, comments, concerns, my door is always open. Feel free to stop in, and we'll try and service whatever you need worked on, and try and take care of anything that you have needs of taking care of. Okay? That's all I have. Anything?
Well, don't put the microphone down, because under old business, I think most of those topics are yours.
Probably all mine, isn't it? Yeah. All right. All right, so item number 1, lake development projects. It's been a challenging off-season for our lake development projects. The lake committee team has continued to do a phenomenal job identifying things that we need to do to protect the lake, which is our #1 asset. One of the projects that we have had earmarked for is, ironically, we call it the dam project, because it is fortifying the dam. We get every 3 years a review of the dam. Civil engineer comes in and Allegan County comes in. It's rated A to, I believe, D. We have a B score, which is very good. That dam is going on 51, 52 years old. But we've highlighted, if you've seen the concrete there, both in the water and on top, it's starting to crack. And we came up with a project to put some riprap along that dam, put like a landscaping sheet down, put riprap over it to deter a lot of the waves that are hitting that dam and pounding it relentlessly. We have not been able to get an Eagle permit approved and signed as of yet for that dam. We've been working on it really since October, November. We actually held an on-site review with Eagle, DEQ, Allegan County, and we walked them through our plan. We walked away very positive, and our permit continues to sit waiting to be approved. So what that means is we can't start it. We're not going to start major construction during the season, and the contractors that we had hoped that, they are all booked for the season. So that project is going to get kicked to the off-season in probably October, November to get that one taken care of. Another item that we took a look at is Phase 3 well. We did kick off Phase 3 well. We had some testing done, came back with a favorable spot to drill that well. We drilled it, and it is not producing the output that it was anticipated to produce. So we've got to go back to the drawing board and decide what are the options to pull more water out of that well to help fill up Phase 3 and keep that water clear and keep the level up. Or do we have to go back to the drawing board and do some other testing areas and go after another site in Phase 3 to drill another well? So that'll be ongoing this off-season. Another item in Phase 3, if those of you don't know it, but that's where our lake starts. It basically the Rabbit River. Yeah, that comes in and it starts in Phase 3, and that's the start of our lake. Well, Mother Nature is starting to close that opening a little bit, which is preventing natural water flow into, not preventing it, but basically hindering it from coming in. We kicked off a review again with Eagle and DEQ when they were on site here to review that. They are not fond of any kind of dredging projects, so that one has been shelved right now, and we continue to work with the state on trying to come up with an acceptable plan to try to open up that mouth in Phase 3 so we can continue to get a good supply of water. Boat stakes. Jeff Hopkins, park inspector, he and I will be reviewing with the Lake Committee recommendations for a boat stake procedure process, and what are we going to do with our waiting list. At a high level, we have about 1,492 boat stakes, no, 1,490 boat stakes. We have around 1,200 boat stakes that have been assigned to members. So that leaves roughly 290, 300 boat stakes that are available. We have 394 members that have been on a list, and that list has been anywhere from 8, 9, 10 years, all the way up to this past month. We're not going to have enough available boat stakes to release to everybody. So we're going to have to come up with a plan on what that means and how we communicate that to the members, because I know Jeff spends a lot of time on boat steaks. Member service gets a lot of calls on boat steaks. We'll just please be patient with us, and when we come up with a plan and communication, we'll get it out to you. But Jeff did spend a lot of time this off-season physically walking around in snow, wind, rain, locating markers, locating boat stakes. He's got a list of people that may have to be moved because they're in the wrong spot, but we're not going to have enough boat stakes to release to everybody that's on a waiting list. But then we want to try and come up with what's the plan to try and help accommodate those that are on a waiting list, and how many can we accommodate. So stay tuned for that.
It's actually Pigeon Creek that feeds
Pigeon
us,
Creek,
and we
that's-
dump into Rabbit River.
we dump into
Sorry,
Rabbit Creek.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just technical.
That's why I'm not a natural resources guy. Moving on to the restaurant and store, we talked about that briefly. Again, Ben Bifalski, who leads maintenance, that team is talented. They've done a phenomenal job. There was a lot of need of repair in that store and restaurant. With the loss of Jack Schmidt, he retired last year. Dale Yoder is taking over the park and garden, and after we finished our process with the prior tenant and we took over those two areas, we welcomed Dale with some additional responsibilities of leading and kind of running the store and the restaurant. So in reviewing with the board, what we're going to do is the store will maintain and stay under Sandy Pines operations. That store will be ours going forward. We'll staff it accordingly. It will open this weekend. Go in there. Dale and that park and garden team, we've had some phenomenal volunteers helping out. It's stocked. It's ready to go. It should be open tomorrow, and that will continue to be in Sandy Pines operations. The restaurant, we've reviewed with probably 7 or 8 members and outside individuals. Plans on if this was theirs, how would they run it, how would they operate it? Quite honestly, the biggest thing that we're running into, excuse me, including Sandy Pines, is the equipment that was taken from that store. That is a large capital expense, and we don't have that in our budget right now. The people that we've reviewed, they don't have it in their budget either. They're expecting a turnkey and then just lease it from us. We don't have that right now. So we've continued to work with Allegheny County Health Department. We believe the plan going forward, and we're going to try and get it open as quickly as possible, is just light, like a coffee bar, donuts, pastries, things like that, where members can hang out until we can come up with the funds, or we have somebody that will front the capital to put that equipment in there. The repair cost kind of tapped any extra budget that we had in different areas. So that's kind of the status that we have for the restaurant right now. But the good news is that store is looking really good. You guys should go in there and see it tomorrow. It's ready to go. Spectrum. Everybody order their Spectrum equipment? Yes? No? You got it hooked up? Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. Is how was the process? Was it good, bad, indifferent? Okay.
Ours was excellent.
Okay. All right. So this is probably the major projects that we worked on the off season was Spectrum and that retail center. We met with Spectrum. It started out bi-weekly meetings in really September, and we met every other week just to make certain that we could deliver the equipment and get you guys up and running by the time you guys got here. We continue to meet with them weekly. Actually, I'm on daily calls with these guys. some of the stats we have, overall feedback, you know, I'm not on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever those things, those in social media. I try to stay positive, so I don't venture out there. But I have gotten some snippets with, the feedback has been positive overall. Very supporting of how Spectrum has been handling it. We've had trucks here on a regular basis. You've seen them zooming around here. I think Public Safety has pulled them over 3 or 4 times because they've been going so fast to get from one appointment to another. I see Phil nodding in the background there. But overall, again, at a high level, when I say we, Spectrum and Sandy Pines, we projected about 1,732 members to order their equipment and have it shipped here for self-installation. And if anybody's seen the administration conference room, it's been turned into a little distribution center. To date, we've received 1,605 packages, and we have 198 still sitting there. So we've pushed out almost 1,400 packages to the members. Again, the majority of the process has been good. For anybody that got short-shipped on missing equipment, we apologize, but you know, we've gotten on the phone with Spectrum and we've gotten a list, and I think they've resolved them as quickly as possible. Just a reminder, we have 198 there, but if you look at the numbers, we still have over, 100, we still have over 120 some that still have not ordered according to the numbers that we're tracking. Your modems will be shut off. Your old modems will be shut off June 5th. You already do not have cable TV. That shut off May 1st, I believe. So basically, get in there, order that, get it here in a timely manner, because the modems will shut off May 5th. If you're on an old modem, that means no internet, you can't stream, you can't connect, things of that nature. We do have a breakdown by phase. Phase 1, we have 44 of your packages still there. Phase 2, we have 36 packages. Phase 3, we have 17 packages. Phase 4, we have 34 packages. Phase 5, anybody from Phase 5 here? You guys are leading the way with 51 packages still sitting there. Phase 6, 14 packages, and the condos have 2. So Spectrum, if you look at the numbers, okay, so we have 2,162 members. Who's doing their other 430? Spectrum has forecasted 430 of our members will sign up for what they call professional install, the $59.99 payment package to have them deliver and install and take your stuff away. As of today, they've installed 297 installations throughout the park. So they're a little over, they're over halfway, but they still have about 130 that they are seeing that are getting scheduled. If you haven't done it, order your equipment. If you're gonna schedule and install, you wait, it'll push you past that June 5th and you'll be without service. Okay?
Jeff, I have a question.
Yes.
Is there an end date, like after September 30, you can no longer order your equipment? Or is there an end date, or is it just like?
There's a good question. There's not an end date. After June 5th, what Spectrum and Sandy Pines will do is we will reconcile. We have logs of here's everybody that turned in their old equipment, and we've got it all documented. We will send that to Spectrum, and we will reconcile who has ordered their equipment by site based on their records, who has turned in their equipment, and then we'll see, do we have 200 people that haven't ordered it? Do we have 500 people? And then we'll have to start communicating to them accordingly. So there's not really an end date. We've actually been contacted by some of the members stating, hey, I voted no, I don't want it, I'm not ordering it. Okay, understand you won't get cable TV and you won't get internet. They're okay with that because this is a camping facility. They can order it at any time.
Okay.
And what they're
Right.
Because
Yep.
old
Okay.
members will have to.
Yep, and new members, so Kimberly brings up a good point, we're working through this process with Spectrum. If, and we don't want anybody out here to sell, but if you sell, and you wind up leaving Sandy Pines through the closing process, you will have to cancel your account with Spectrum. You will have to bring in your old equipment, and the new members will have to set up an account just like you did, and have the equipment either picked up at a local store, which would be Holland or Kalamazoo, or do a professional install. So that's what we're working through right now. So there's not necessarily an end date. The end date is, it's a 5-year contract. After the 5 years are over, you can't order, unless we renew. So,
Good to know.
Yep. All right. Almost done. Phase 2 pool. So, again, if you've been reading the footprints, we communicated, I think, March timeframe, that we selected FCC Construction in conjunction with Sunrise Pools. FCC has done a lot of our projects here in the park. We had 2 contractors that bid the Phase 2 pool, and FCC came into our timing and our budget. We have been going through design reviews, renderings, getting feedback from pool committee, some feedback from the board. FCC met with our pool committee this week for an initial kickoff. A lot of good ideas, recommendations on how we want the pool placed, what do we want it to look like, things of that nature. So those conversations are ongoing. Pool committee meets every other week with FCC, and we have until really the middle of July to provide feedback on, size of the pool, depth, what it looks like, things of that nature. Middle of July, that design will be frozen. They'll come to myself and then the board with a final design and a final cost, and then kickoff for digging a hole for that Phase 2 pool will be after Labor Day this year. We got to pour concrete before the ground freezes, so that's really September, October. And then during the off season, it's the building the bathhouses and things of that nature. But this is going to go fast and furious. The plan is to open by Memorial Day next year in 2024 for the Phase 2 pool. So a lot going on with all the different projects, and I think that is that's all I have. I'm out of wind. Thanks.
Okay,
Alan, I have a comment first for you. On your comment about the petitions for director, the general election is August 19th. 60 days from that would be June 20th. Since that's Monday is going to be less than a month, I would say the petition should be ready Monday for the people to pick up, to give them 30 days to collect, to pick up, and turn in a petition.
Okay, I can check with member service, see if they're ready for that.
All right.
and we'll make sure that we share that on social media and.
Well, because you got a lot of people want to try, and if they have a difficulty picking up a petition in 2 or 3 weeks, that the longer we give them, the better chance we'll get people to come and want to run for the board.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
Yep.
I had another suggestion. I've been on the committee for several years now that counts and validates all the signatures on the petitions. And we have had to throw a couple of them out because they got exactly 25 signatures and a couple were not valid. So if you are thinking about it or know someone, please get more than 25, get 30, get 40, I don't care, get 100. But just make sure you have 25 that are valid. And it can be something simple that somebody was a seasonal member. Well, they're not allowed to vote, so they're not allowed. And you might not know that. They might be your neighbor, So just make sure that you get enough signatures.
Okay. At tomorrow's face-to-face, we will be doing questions and answers. After we finish the new business, we'll have an opportunity for comments. And under new business, we have a resolution 051923 regarding swimming attire. Jeff, do you want to speak to this a little bit? And I will.
Yes, so over the last few years, we've had some situations, it's mainly at the pool with, with inappropriate attire, see-through swimsuits. I mean, once you jump in, if it gets wet, and you jump out, it shows everything.
There is pictures.
So the staff has come to myself and the board to say, hey, our current rules don't really help us enforce. Hey, you either need to go change or you need to leave. We don't need to have inappropriate attire at our water park with see-through suits and just being transparent thongs and things of that nature, whether it's male or female, right? So the staff has come to us and said, hey, can we have some additional meat in the rule to have we have a policy drafted. We will have examples of what is appropriate, what is not appropriate in a training book. But this isn't gonna be, hey, Steve, I don't like what you're wearing today. You gotta go. It's for these extreme circumstances because people have said, well, tell me in the rules where I can't wear this or where I have to leave. We have added some additional meat to this, where some of the stuff that's in the training dialogue or the training manual now is actually being enforced and not really any issues. The pool filters get clogged up by various things. Pollen, if you wear cotton running shorts in the pool or you wear a cotton t-shirt in the pool, those fibers pull off and that clogs up the pool filters. Can you wear coverings if you want to wear a covering to go into the pool? Yes, you can. You just have to make certain that it's swimming pool appropriate material so it's not damaging the pool. This gives a little more guidance and guidelines to say this is acceptable and this is not. And so that's what's in front of the board today.
Okay, and once again, there's not going to be an inspection. You don't have to do a fashion show when you arrive at the gate. It's to fortify the rec staff's ability to deal with specific situations. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Resolution number 051923, resolution to amend Rulebook Handbook. Whereas the bylaws of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, Article 8, Section 6E, gives the Board of Directors the power to adopt, amend, rescind, and repeal rules and regulations relating to the use of Sandy Pines property and the conduct of its members and their guests, whereas rules, Section 14,
Yep.
I'm not good at these Roman numerals. Lake, pool, beach, and designated swimming area regulations, subsection B, pool regulations currently states, 3, only persons wearing proper swimming attire will be permitted in the pool. And subsection C, beach regulations does not currently address swimming attire. Whereas the Board of Directors for the health, safety, and welfare of Sandy Pines believes it is in the best interests of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rules and regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments and additions to the rules and regulations relating to rules, section 14, lake, pool, beach, and designated swimming area regulations, subsection B, pool regulations, and C, beach regulations, currently located on page 35 of the Sandy Pines Rules, Regulations, and Bylaws Handbook. Rules, section 14, lake, pool, beach, and designated swimming area regulations, subsection B, pool regulations. 3, Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails reserves the right at the sole discretion to deny use of any park pool and or splash pad for inappropriate swimwear that could distract from the experience of other members and or guests. If you are unsure if your swimwear meets our guidelines, please check with park staff and or management. Subsection C, beach regulations. 7, Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails reserves the right at its sole discretion to deny use of any beach area for inappropriate swimwear that could distract from the experience of other members and or guests. If you are unsure if your swimwear meets our guidelines, please check with park staff and or management. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the above resolution. Are there any questions or comments from the rest of the board?
I just have a comment that Jeff and staff, you did reach out to other aquatic centers and help work through this. This isn't just something you pulled out of the...
We did, and that's an excellent point, Rick. Kelly, that's your phone. So again, because we haven't had really a policy in place for something like this, we did reach out to local public pools. We went, I think, as far as like College Station, Texas, and this is in guidance of what similar public pools and public facilities have in place today, and it's really just getting us to the standard. It's not, you're not going to have an inspector at the door. Again, it's going to be really those extreme circumstances where you may be asked to change. So, good point. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to accept this resolution.
So moved.
So moved. Support.
So Larry and Paul.
Kimberly, will you please do the roll call vote?
Rick Day,
Yes.
Jenny Hager,
Yes.
Larry Munger,
Yes.
Stephanie Sikanya,
Yes.
Ellen Carpenter,
Yes.
Bob Deckinga,
Yes.
Kelly Johnson,
Yes.
Paul Pepple,
Yes.
and Scott Wyman.
Yes.
All approved. 9-0.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is resolution number 051923B. And this resolution, it's housekeeping basically. When we approved the golf course or the golf cart license plates, there was some redundant information in there, and all we're doing is removing a couple things and cleaning it up. One of the things has to do with the member's site number. That's not necessary now, and in 2 places it said the same thing about owning. The golf cart must be owned by the member. So I'll go ahead and read this. Resolution number 051923B, resolution to amend Rulebook Handbook. Whereas the bylaws of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, Article 8, Section 6E, gives the Board of Directors the power to adopt, amend, rescind, and repeal rules and regulations relating to the use of Sandy Pines property and the conduct of its members and their guests. Whereas Rules Section 12, Vehicle and Traffic Regulations, subsection B, Golf Cart Rules and Regulations currently states 3. All golf carts must display the member's site number. The site number must be at least 3 inches high in height on the front and rear of the golf cart and be highly visible. The site numbers must be a contrasting color with the color of the golf cart. 4. Golf carts must be owned by the member and display a current Sandy Pines registration sticker on the right rear end of the golf cart. Whereas the Board of Directors for the Health, Safety, and Welfare of Sandy Pines believes it is in the best interest of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rules and regulations, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments and additions to the rules and regulations relating to Rules Section 12, Vehicle and Traffic Regulations, subsection B, Golf Cart Rules and Regulations, currently located on page 26 of the Sandy Pines Rules, Regulations, and Bylaws Handbook. Remove the above subsection B, items 3 and 4, as they are now addressed under the new Golf Cart License Plate Rules, Section 12, Vehicle and Traffic Regulations, subsection B, Item 15, page 26. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the above resolution. Do any of the board members have comments or questions?
Other than that, the fine that goes along with line 3 should also be deleted at the time.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve or adopt this resolution.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Oh,
Roll call.
roll call, sorry. Getting it done?
Ellen Carpenter,
Yes.
Bob Ekinga,
Yes.
Kelly Johnson,
Yes.
Paul Pepble,
Yes.
Scott Wyman,
Yes.
Rick Day,
Yes.
Jenny Teeger,
Yes.
Larry Munger,
Yes.
and Stephanie Sukanya. 9-0 all approved.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion, information on the 10-year capital assessment for the golf course. Jeff, could you please handle this?
Okay, yes, we can. Kimberly and I were fighting over the microphone here. So, the golf course is coming up, this is year 9, and next year is year 10. So we're gonna start kicking off some town halls, similar to what we did with kind of the spectrum information. I've sat down with Larry Finkbeiner and David Ingalls, who is taking over for Larry. And, you know, we're gonna have one or both of them at the face-to-face tomorrow. But we wanna start getting some input and just kind of start explaining where we're at from a park perspective. If you look at those financials, you know, again, Kimberly stated some of the financials earlier. This is not just for the capital; it is for the operations as well. The Lake Monterey 10-year assessment is for the operations of the course. Again, just at a high level, if you look at it, if the golf course makes $80,000 or $100,000 in profit, which we've seen some upticks, and Larry has continued to do a good job, and David has some great ideas to continue moving forward. But above that line in the revenue area, the membership pays $270,000 for operations and another $54,000 for capital. So if you back that out of the $80,000 in profit or the $100,000 in profit that they've made over the last couple of years, it's at a loss. And we've continued to try and add things. We've increased our outside public play, you know, without trying to hinder any additional fees to the members who are golfing there. But we're coming up to a point where we need to start educating and getting some ideas from the members. This 10-year operation assessment and capital assessment, we're gonna have to seriously think about renewing that, but at what level, to try and continue to move forward and keep the golf course. You know, I do hear, hey, I don't golf, so I shouldn't have to pay for this. I golf, you know, I don't use the lake. I mean, everybody has their specific story and how they use Sandy Pines. But overall, as a community, you know, the lake and the golf course add significant value to Sandy Pines, and we just want to start having some open discussions and educating the members and getting some input. So we'll start kicking that off here starting tomorrow and through the rest of the summer, as to start thinking about, we will probably have to renew this, but at what level? Did you want to add anything? No. All right. Ellen, did you want to add anything else?
No. Did any of the other board members have anything on that? Okay. Our next item on the agenda is to approve a new member for the Rules Committee. Now, this member has been approved by the committee itself, and in order to have somebody participating, the board also needs to approve committee members, and I'll make my pitch right now that I'd like to see more people join committees like the Safety and Security Committee. We have a pool committee. You know, if you have interest in a committee, there's a place on the website where you can apply and you'd be considered and approved and help make some of these decisions. The new committee member for the Rules Committee's name is Tammy LaFon. Kelly, that's your committee. Do you have any comments on Tammy?
No, I met her at the last meeting. Very intelligent young lady. But she seemed really enthused about joining. We listened to comments from her on subjects that were discussed at the last meeting, and then didn't let her vote on anything that was voted, but she'll be a great asset to the committee, I'm sure.
I'll entertain a motion to approve Tammy LaFon as a member of the Rules Committee.
So moved.
Support.
Do any of the board members have comments or questions about this new board member, or this new committee member? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And I'm going to hand this one back to Jeff, too. Firearm policy, can you please give us an update on that?
Yes, just before we go into that, Ellen's comments on committees, very valid, but with a lot of the projects that we do, i.e. the spectrum, we could not survive without volunteers. So get on a committee and help out. I know Tammy helped us out, handing out spectrum packages. She was a godsend. Peggy Finkbeiner, Karen Force, I can't name them all. Diane Rhonda, and a lot of them are on committees as well. But it's amazing when you get volunteers there and they start interacting with other members and just doing a lot of hard work for us, which we greatly appreciate. But they start understanding some of the stuff that goes on up in administration and interacting with the staff, and it's been hard work, but they've said, hey, listen, we've actually had some fun doing it as well. So we appreciate all committee members and volunteers. We couldn't do it without you guys. Last item for new business is firearm policy. So this is really in reference to public safety firearm policy. So if we take a step back, I think when I first started here, the plan was we were going to do a PA 330, which was self-policing. Arm our guards. We would be our own police staff, and we'd have to basically build our own jail and update our public safety building to like police standards. We, after further review and getting feedback from members, we peeled back off of that. But we do need to acknowledge that what's going on today. We've had an incident outside the park that was real close to us. We've had assessments every fall through Allegheny County training, the sheriff training on site, rescue crews training on site, tactical assessments. They've identified some areas here in our community that we just want to make certain that our members are protected in need in case something does happen where we have an active shooter on site. And it's for the protection of the community and it's the protection of our public safety. So we committed at the end of last year at our, I believe it was our annual meeting and one of our last board meetings that we're gonna pivot on this and not go the PA 330 route, but we have ratcheted up some of the training for our public safety officers. They go through not everybody, but it's going to be a select few that will go through training. They'll get evaluated, and that training is ongoing and reviewed on an annual basis. And we do have some of them that have passed that training, and they will be carrying concealed on site starting the season. We've actually had a couple of them that started in, I want to say November of this year, carrying on site. So this is just a communication to the membership that we're kind of pivoting from the original process of PA 330, but we do have our public safety officers carrying starting the season.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda are comments from the membership, and I'd like to remind you that these are comments, question and answers are done at the face-to-face, where we have more time and more open agenda to do that. We want you to use the mic, and we'd also like you to identify yourself when you come to the mic. So, who would like to be first?
Don't be shy. Come on.
There's Mike.
Good evening. Thank
Good
you.
evening.
I'm Carolyn Nielsen, lot 803. This might be a little late. We had how many thousands of boxes for our internet? I went last week to just empty my garbage in one right there by the bathroom. It was full of the cardboard. You couldn't even get mine in. I'm a recycle person. I don't know what it costs for extra for us to have a recycle, for them to come in and take it. I wish it could have been in the notes of somewhere that please discard into our recycle bin. I went there yesterday, the day before, broke down my boxes, and it was not full. But here by the bathroom where I am in phase 2, I couldn't get even my normal garbage in because it was full of the boxes from our internet table. Unfortunately, it's probably a little late, but in the future maybe we can think about making a statement that we do have recycle, we pay for it, let's use it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yes, that is a great benefit that we have. We'll try to encourage people to do that more. Anyone else?
This is just more from a comment. My name is Rico Centeno, Phase 1, 438. And I came into Sandy Pines probably, this is going to be my 4th year. And I know that there has been a lot of discussions around, obviously, the boat stakes and so forth. And I think you folks are doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much for your time and talent and so forth. I did put in a request in last year for jet-propelled vehicles, not so much PWCs. I don't want PWCs whatsoever, I understand that. But Sea-Doo does make a pontoon that is jet-based, and I provided content and information based on the safety of jet-propelled over propped, as well as erosion statistics as well, to the Rules Committee to look into that. Now, so my typical ask is just that if there's a way for the Rules Committee to adopt the capability of using just pontoons that are jet-based, not PWCs or any of that type of stuff. They go just as fast as the props that are out there now. If they're about just as safe as the others also. So just look into that, and that's all I gotta say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? And one thing too, these committees are advisory, they don't make the rules, and if a rule came in front of us, we discuss it before we go and, propose a resolution to adopt it, just for informational purposes. Anyone else? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Supported.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same